Welcome to the Hubfish Show, where you can get ideas to help you grow your eco-conscious business. And today I'm joined by Jenny Bailey of Tales from Mother Earth. And we're talking about storytelling to inspire the next generation about conservation. So welcome, Jenny.
Hello. Hi, Karen. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, lovely to have you here. So Tales from Mother Earth produced audio picture storybooks narrated by Mother Earth for children from 3 to 10 years old.
That's right.
And they have a strong conservation message in them to empower kids to help our wildlife and feel better about their future. So fantastic. So let's launch straight to the questions and hear about how did Tales from Mother Earth come about?
Wow. Well, how it came about is back in 2019, really. I had when I was talking to a friend, we had an idea, really. Around that time, if you can remember, there was wildfires happening in Australia. I mean, there was horrific pictures of Australia coming over the news. There was horrible pictures of another fires that were happening in California and America. So America was in flames, Australia was in flames. Around that time also, Sir David Attenborough said the words that the Garden of Eden was no more. And also, if that wasn't enough to kind of get us all thinking what is going on, there was a big report came out about the insects being in major decline and what that would mean, or the implications for all of us. And me being a nature lover, a conservationist at heart, and a parent who obviously cares for my children's future and how their future is going to be, I just thought I need to do something. I want to help. I can't just carry on and do nothing and be oblivious to this, because it's reached my soul and it's reached my mind and my heart. And I need to do something, because I was feeling very, very anxious about our future. The climate crisis, the plastic issue, the programs that we were seeing on television, as well as the media, it all added to it, really. But when David Attenborough said those words, I just thought, what can I do? What can I do? And it was a conversation that I was having with a friend, really. She's now Mother Earth, she's our narrator. And we said, let's do something. And obviously, because we're both parents, I think the idea of writing stories came fairly naturally. And then because she's a narrator and she's Mother Earth, we thought, well, we need an illustrator and we need a composer. We need a story editor. So we went out and we found these most amazing people that have come onto the team, really. And I'm delighted to be leading this team. It's fantastic, it really is. So you're right, what we're actually creating is storybooks for children 3 to 10 years that have got a lot of elements in the storybooks to make a child understand that our wildlife is in trouble, but also understand what they can do to actually help it, which I think is critical, because that helps their well-being. Because if they're taking action, like I took action by writing the stories, and it made me feel better that I was actually doing something, with a child actually planting wildflower seeds, for instance, even if it's in a flower pot, and they see that bloom come up and then they see a bee come to it, they know that they've done something great, and that will be imprinted on their mind that they've connected with nature. And that's what it's all about for us. It's all about connecting children with nature.
Oh, that's fantastic. So important, I think, to give them something, positive to think and do. So what has been the response to the audiobooks, and kind of how have you promoted the business?
Oh yeah, no, it's been incredible. I mean, we're still a fledgling. We're very, very tiny. So we're, there's a big world out there, and we're trying to make an impact, obviously. And we want to get our books out into little children's hands to really make a difference, so they can connect with nature. And we're working with like-minded organisations and individuals that can see the value in what we've done and what we're trying to achieve. So we're working with some wildlife trusts and some zoos and some parks and some farms in the area. We're working with some museums and some libraries. Obviously, when we started last year, we had to postpone a number of events that we had planned. We had about 10 or 12 events, and we had to postpone them because obviously lockdown happened, and we couldn't do anything. So we've had to really feature and focus, I think, our attention much more on social media, really, and building the brand on our LinkedIn, on our Twitter, on our Facebook pages, to let people know what we're about and who we are, and the intention and the mission, really, that we actually have with Tales from Mother Earth.
Brilliant. And I know you mentioned you've got a website, Tales from Mother Earth, and you're on Instagram as well, aren't you? So you're just growing that audience. And you were telling me just before, you've got a group as well, which is kind of separate to that on Facebook. So that's kind of building up nicely,
Yes,
people sharing conservation
that's
stories
right.
and tips.
Yeah, that one's called Mother Earth and Me, and I encourage anybody to come and join us because it's a place where we can all share our conservation tips, ideas and stories. I run it at Tales from Mother Earth. I post on it every day, but it's amazing what we can all learn from each other and how we can feel inspired and make ourselves feel better about, again, it's taking action, isn't it? It's by taking action and helping the wildlife, you feel better about it, and obviously you're also helping the wildlife, which is a huge benefit to the environment.
Definitely. So, you know, I mean, we're talking all about this. Why, you've touched on it a bit, but why do you think it's so important to reconnect children with nature and conserve the bees? Because I know your first book is about Phoebe the Bee. So,
Phoebe the Bee, yeah, that's right. It was around because of that report that came out about the bees being in major decline, and that really spelt out the implications to us all. I mean, bees, the service of pollination that bees actually provide to us free of charge is worth billions if you calculate it. It really is, and it's global. There's bees everywhere, there's no doubt about it. And if, you know, they're in decline, they're having a hard time at the moment. In the UK alone, we've lost, what, 97% of our wildflower meadows. So the bumblebees, the solitary bees, and the honeybees are having a hard time at the moment. And it's mostly, funnily enough, well, not funnily enough, but tragically, I think, the bumblebees and the solitary bees, the native bees, that are having the hardest times right now. And if they decline further, then our fauna and our flora will decline. Our biodiversity will decline, our health will decline, the nourishment that we get in our food will decline, and our food crops will decline. I mean, Einstein said, and I don't want to be an alarmist in any way, and take what you wish from this, but Einstein said, if bees go, we go 4 years later. There is a major in it, there really, really is. So that's on one side. On the other side, why I want to connect children with nature is the fact that there are so many benefits for nature for children. There really are. When children connect with nature and see a life form like a ladybird or something when they're young on their hand, or a butterfly, I mean, it's like pure magic to them, I guess,
yeah.
isn't it? But also, by doing that and by connecting with nature and having those moments outside to look at the flowers, to look at the nature that's literally out there, all free of charge, it's literally out there. A child's creativeness can be sparked, a child's connectivity with the world can be sparked, and they can realize that the fact that they're a part of something that's massive, and that's comforting in a way as well. Their creativeness, their confidence, their empathy, their social skills, the list is endless. It really, really is endless. Also, that's the mental well-being, but you can also think of the physical well-being as well, can't you?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
And this is all for connecting with something that is free of charge, that is out there. So I encourage everybody really to, as a parent, to let their children explore their senses, let their senses be awakened in nature, to touch, to smell, to watch, just to take in. I mean, I do that with my children regularly, and the amazing things I've shown my children where I've seen their mind actually expand with wonder really has been the times we've really looked at nature. And it's an incredible thing for a parent to show that to a child, and actually to share those moments as well.
Definitely. Oh, amazing. Definitely. So what is the plans for the future of the business? Have you got some other, I know you've got some other stories lined up, so maybe tell us a little bit about that.
I got carried away when I thought about what animals need our help, and how by us helping them can we see the benefit of it instantly, like for bees, if you like, because obviously we can go out and plant wildflowers, and like we've discussed, bees need more forage. And if we all planted wildflowers, because do you know, all our gardens in the UK take up more space than all the national reserves put together, which is incredible. So our spaces, our wild gardens, or our gardens and our green spaces are so critical, and they're such an important environment to the wildlife. And our wildlife in the UK is we have the most depleted wildlife in the world, don't we? And our biodiversity is in trouble, and so this will affect us. So we need to help this. We need to do all we can. So in the story Phoebe the Bee, we're all busy working our gardens with little or no consideration for the biodiversity or for wildlife. And that's the concern in Phoebe the Bee, because the colony starts suffering because of it. They can't find the forage, they can't find the flowers. bees need a good, maybe 2,000 flowers a day to survive and thrive. And when it comes to honeybees, they make 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in their lifetime. And the worker bee, like Phoebe is, you know, she lives for about 6 to 7 weeks, something like that. So it's, you know, the work they put in for us to give us the colour in our life, to give us that biodiversity is huge. And we need to have a little bit more respect and knowledge and education, I think, when it comes to bees in particular. But when we looked into this, I did get carried away, because I've written 7 stories now that are going to come into the Tales from the Countryside series. So Phoebe is the first, Spike the Hedgehog is the second, because hedgehogs are our favourite mammals. They're on the red list to extinction. And there's things we can do to encourage hedgehogs into our garden. And that can benefit us too, because it can get rid of some of the pests in the garden.
Definitely.
And also, again, it will make us feel better that we're helping the wildlife. And you can actually see, like you say, you have a hedgehog in your garden, which is wonderful. And it's just lovely, because you're encouraging that wildlife in and you're benefiting from it, which is just wonderful.
Definitely. Fantastic.
So after Spike the Hedgehog, there's Sonny the Swift, and there's Bandit the Blue Tit, and there's Stanley the Water Vole. And I kind of just got carried away thinking, what animals need our help? And when we go and do children's workshops, we ask those questions to the children: what animals need our help? And it becomes very clear, all the animals need our help.
Yeah, so it's just choosing it. Well, I mean, that gives you lots and lots to write about in the future, so that's fantastic. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show now, but I just want to find out, what is your top eco tip, whether that be business or lifestyle?
I think my top eco tip is mindset. I think it all starts with the power of the mind, where you know there's a problem, and there's knowledge that you need to look into it to find out what you can do. Obviously, David Attenborough's tip was don't waste, and I echo that completely. Don't waste anything, but you know, live in a certain way that you know you're trying your best, you're doing something, and change that mindset. If you see litter out in the gutter, in the streets, for instance, go and pick it up, because invariably it's going to end up somewhere that's going to harm some wildlife somewhere, or some biodiversity. I go out litter collecting with my sons, and we have litter pickers in the back of the car, and it was amazing. I had people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, are they in trouble?" And I was like, "What do you mean, are they in trouble?" He said, "Oh, well, they're picking up rubbish." And I was like, "No, they're picking up rubbish because we want to pick up rubbish, because then when we look round, the rubbish is gone and we've done something really good." Yeah, and we feel better about it.
Yeah, so you're starting that conversation and inspiring others as well, aren't you?
It really is. It really is that ability, really, just to kind of go, well, how am I living? Is there something I can do? Can I recycle more? Can I pick up rubbish? Can I encourage children to connect with nature? Can I plant wildflower seeds? Can I not mow my garden as much? Because it doesn't need to be mowed down to, you know, the last 3 centimeters of your grass. It would be much better if you can have it at a good 12 or 10 centimeters and allow the daisies.
Exactly, and just leave a few wildflower patches in that as well. Or
that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Feed the birds, put some water out for the birds. There's so much we can do, and by doing something collectively, we can all do a lot. See, no one person is too small to make a difference. That's another thing we say to our children when we go out and do story workshops.
Definitely. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you.
Dandelions are not weeds. Can I just say that? Dandelions are not weeds. They're so important for bees. They really are.
Yeah, I know, for sure. We've got a lot in our garden. I do leave them very late, I never mow them out. So yeah, it provides a lot of food for them. Well, thank you so much. So I mentioned before, we can find you at talesfrommotherEarth.co.uk.
Yes.
And you're obviously on all the social media channels as well. So if anyone wants to check that out, if you've got comments, if you're watching now or you're going to watch the replay, please keep your questions and comments coming, and we both, Jenny and I, will be on there to answer those. So thank you so much for joining us, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's been a total pleasure catching up with you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you on the show as well. And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you same time next week. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye. Bye.